Before we can get started today with the video, we need to go over some new vocabulary and terminology so that we'll be able to understand what we're talking about. So I took a picture of the book, and this is what we'll be going over tomorrow. So as we see up here at the top, it states that a prism is a polyhedron with exactly two congruent parallel faces, which are called bases. So this one right here and this down here at the bottom would be the bases. All these other faces that circle around between the top and the bottom base are known as lateral faces. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at what is known as the lateral area. And the lateral area, as we see down here, is the area, or the sum of the areas of all the lateral faces. So the sum of the areas of all the five rectangles like we saw up here on the top. So these rectangles all the way around would be the lateral area. So when we get down to what is known as the surface area, then it will be the sum of that lateral area as well as the area of the two different bases. So let's look at a few examples. So we can use a net to find the surface area. Before we even get into any of the equations, we can use a net to find the surface area. And the way, as we see from here, we have two bases, the top and the bottom, and the bases are 4 by 4, and the vertical, or the height, is 5. So the first step we would need to do is to draw out the net. So although not drawn to scale, this would be the net of the cube or the prism to your left. And the way we would find out the surface area of this particular prism is by taking the area of each small individual section and then adding them up. So for example, this is a 4 by 4, so the area of this small square would be 16. This, though, is 5 by 4, so this would be 20. So in the end, your area would be 16 plus 20 plus 16 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20. So that would give you a grand total of 112. If I had given you a unit, you could say, for example, that would be 112 centimeters squared. So that would be the long way in order to find the surface area. There are two equations that you can use hand in hand to find the surface area. The first of which is the lateral area. We've talked about the lateral area on the first slide, and that's the slide of all the that's the area of all the sides that are not the bases. So the lateral area is simply equal to the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height. So if you did that on that previous slide, the perimeter was 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, or 16, and the height was 5. So the lateral area on the previous slide with the cube would simply be 16 times 5, which would give you a lateral area of 80. And so what we could do from there is there's another shortcut, and we can find a surface area. And the surface area is equal to the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the bases. So continuing on with the prism that we saw on the on the second slide, the bases were 4 by 4, and so the area of the base was 16. And so if we continued on with this, the lateral area, as we just found up here, is 80. So the surface area would be equal to 80 plus 2 times 16, or that is 80 plus 32, or 112, like we had just seen on that previous slide. Now, even though this is a much shorter way to find the surface area, you still need to know how to do both the net way as well as this way. And tomorrow we'll do a couple more examples and we'll move on to find and help with the surface area of a cylinder.